Hey guys, thanks for joining the channel today. We got a new tool that we're going to go over here. It is it's something a little bit different, kind of a newer tool. It is called the Quinn. In this case, you can see the logo on it. The Quinn 8-inch pistol grip long nose pliers. So we'll dive into this in just a second. We want to find out kind of what's the construction of this. How well is this tool made? What would be its competition? And hang out towards the end. We'll also kind of dive in a little bit about where you can find it and how much you could get this for. So let's dive in. First and foremost, like we said, this is the Quinn model 57987. I don't believe they put it on the back here. No, it does not show it on the back, but that is its part number. Now, some of you guys may or may not have seen these before. There are other manufacturers that make these, notably Mac, Matco, Napa, and I believe Snap-on makes a set too. But this is a first for the Quinn product line. Now, the construction of these is chrome vanadium, so it is a nice steel. It is hard, and then the grips are kind of your traditional chemical resistant. I believe these are PVC. And then this design is kind of unique. Not all pliers or needle nose pliers have a spring-loaded design, but these ones do. And that spring system would actually be located well inside the fulcrum area here. Now, speaking of the fulcrum, it is fairly thick actually in comparison to some others. It's not overly large. It is very much center-based, which is nice to see. And as you can tell here, it does have an angled head. I would say this angle is roughly close to 45 degrees compared to a traditional. And we'll pull out an example here of some channel locks that are straight nose, right? So obviously there's a big difference in the style of these needle nose pliers. Now, let's take a look at the inside. Take a look at the jaws. Yeah, they are serrated. They are just a single direction on that side, as well as this side. You do have a flat area, but as you see, as they close, let me get a better focus on here. There is a bit of a gap in here, which may be by design. The tips do touch, so that's good to see. And then as far as the cutters go, let's just do a double check here. Yes, these do come to a point, and this side as well does come to a point. Now that is, there's several types of cutters you'll see with these channel locks. You can take a quick look. This side comes to a point, and this side is going to be kind of hard to see here, guys, but it is kind of blunted off. So, and that helps with cutting on the one side of the teeth and making sure the other surface stays flat. One could argue that it allows the cutters to stay sharper longer. In this case, with the Quinns, both sides are sharp. So initially the cutting will be quite nice. The manufacturer does say that they did harden the cutters, but when you have two sharp surfaces, over time those do tend to wear down a little bit faster. So jaw capacity, let's take a measurement here. That's we'll say it's 2 inches maximum. Obviously you won't likely utilize the full 2 inches, and the tool itself is going to be roughly 7 to 7.5 inches long. So they are laser etched. I'm not a huge fan of laser etched tools because, as many of you know, over time the laser etching will remove itself. It does make it harder to identify. I dislike it mostly on sockets. In this case, no one's really going to care too much on a pair of needle nose pliers, but it's the small things, right? So when would you use a pair of these needle nose pliers that are angled, right? These pistol grip long nose pliers. And it may be different for various users. Some items, you know, that I've thought about using it on, especially if you're using it in a location where you're trying to, I mean, let's use these traditional needle nose pliers. If you're trying to get into a tight space, right, needle nose pliers get in there quite well. The challenge you have though is your wrist angle and also the amount of torque you could put on whatever fastener it is that you're reaching for. So let's take a bolt here, for instance. Let's say you're just trying to fish this out. You're squeezing hard and turning this angle here, right, on the outside. This outer diameter is what allows you to get that twisting leverage on this bolt. Now, if you change that, let's take a look here at the Quinn. What makes this unique is that as you grab onto this bolt, like you see here, your hand could either be closely choked up towards the center point. Let's find something a little bit smaller, because we all know we're not going to grab something quite that big. Let's just grab a bolt right here. You can be choked up, and that gives you a faster movement, but with lower torque. As you come further down the handle grip, you're able to increase that leverage, torquing it left and right, and also up and down. And I think that's where the genius in this tool has been developed, because you get the advantage of a needle nose plier, but then also essentially a channel lock. Let's take a look at the construction here. The idea is similar as far as where you grip and how you're able to generate a torque motion on whatever screw, bolt, fastener, pin, but you're getting it in a needle nose. And I think the advantage of these needle noses is it allows you to get into tight places, right? If you're working on hubs, wheel bearings, if you're getting inside of like a tight pipe and there's something you need to grab and twist and pull and turn, this is going to be, in some cases, more advantageous than attempting to use a standard pair of needle nose pliers, right? You can still pinch down. I'd say, I mean, these handles aren't super long on this model, but you can still get relatively the same squeeze, force out of it, but the ability to grab on, twist, and torque whatever it is you need to get out is greatly increased by having these pistol grip long nose pliers. And I was thinking of a couple examples where this could be utilized. And here's a set of brake lines. Now, this set of brake lines has these retainers that hold up against a bulkhead. I don't have the bulkhead obviously here because it's not attached to the car, but these are insanely difficult to pull off when on the car, right? They're usually rusted in place, which these ones are rusted, and able to get enough, use the needle nose here, enough leverage. I mean, you can get the needles in there in a tight place and you can kind of wiggle at it, and it takes a long time to grab onto that and pull it out of there. Right, you could attempt to try to get an angle here, but once again, it's a really tight angle to get at. Whereas if you run in here with the 45 degree that's on these, you can either come in straight, which I like. You can kind of come in from the front, grab onto it, and you could start torquing it up and down, and it comes off much, much easier. So I think that's a great application for brake lines. Let's see, got other examples here. Even for, I'm pulling the throttle body here, but even when it comes to getting to these smaller fasteners, so either for vacuum hoses or this will be a coolant line, it's so much easier to come in from the side, especially in cramped engine bays. Grab on like this, easily torque, because you know sometimes these get stuck, and then pull it right off. I'll put it back on. I'll show you with the channel locks. I kind of have to turn the throttle body now because I don't have enough angle. But you come in there, you can grab it, but you're kind of limited in your wrist on how much torque you can put on it to pull it out. So, another perfect application. And I think where this is advantageous again too, let's say for instance these screws or something similar, you're trying to get into a recessed area, that is where these long nose pistol grip pliers are able to get in there. I can actually grab onto that screw and then be able to loosen it. Where they're different from the channel locks is obviously the head shape. The head is much larger on the channel locks compared to the needle nose. So as you try to come in here with the channel locks, I can't make it all the way in there. I have to attempt to, in this case we have a big enough hole I could get it in there, but even yet it's challenging to get onto that fastener. So each tool has its due diligence in place in time where it's most usable. But in the case of the Quinn, I think it has a fair argument to be used just as much as your traditional needle nose pliers, while also offering you additional grip strength and torque at removing whatever bolts, fasteners, you name it. So once again, competition-wise, they are not the only manufacturers of these. Mac, Matco, Napa, Snap-on, they all make them. Price-wise, though, the higher-end tool truck models, they're roughly, I want to say $75 or more. The ones I was looking at. In the case of this Quinn, it is manufactured by Harbor Freight. Well, Harbor Freight doesn't manufacture their own tools. They have people manufacture for them, but this Harbor Freight tool can be picked up for, at the time of filming right now, for $11.99. So a fraction of the cost. It is made in Taiwan. Once again, chrome vanadium construction. I would say construction-wise, this is actually fairly nice. It's a fairly nice tool. The jaws themselves, I mean, let's wiggle and see how tight that is. I'm not getting any play. I mean, there's barely any play in these. So, actually quite impressed. So, warranty, as you know, Quinn products or Harbor Freight products have a lifetime warranty. So if this does break, you can take it in and get a brand new one. So, all in all, actually pretty impressed with this tool. I would say at least take a look at it, see if you have an application where to be used in your toolbox. But for the price, it is pretty tough to beat. So, guys, feel free to like and subscribe, and share your comments. What do you think about this tool? Are we doing it justice? Is this a good tool to have in your toolbox? I would like to know. All right, we'll talk to you guys. See ya.